Hey guys, it's Gen Z and you're watching the Hangout on YouTube.
How
Oh
are
my
you?
god, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about the last time we chatted, and that was back in March.
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's Sid. Welcome back to the Hangout. Today I'm joined by Vancouver's very own, I want to say maybe quadruple threat. You're a singer, songwriter, dancer, and
Mm.
and
Questionable.
full-time and full-time YouTuber. We've got Gen Z here on today's episode. I guess most people are familiar with your YouTube channel, your DIY. What are things you've kind of learned about yourself throughout the journey of having this YouTube channel?
Well, I started in 2013, so I was 15 years old. I was like this little shy girl, like very introverted. I think I've learned that I can do a lot more than I think I can, and I think that everyone can. Like a lot of things seem so out of reach and just like this distant dream because being a singer has always been something that I've wanted to do. Like ever since watching Hannah Montana, I was like, I want to be her. And I had her poster on my wall. And now I'm not like exactly her, but I feel like I do have this like double life because I'm a YouTuber and also an artist. Even though I wanted to do this whole music thing before Generation DIY, I just like wasn't confident enough at the time. And after these 7 years on YouTube, I feel like I've built up this like internet persona and like confidence and being able to talk on camera and like talk to people in real life.
You mentioned that you were like an introvert. Has YouTube like helped you come out of your shell in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still think I'm like a huge introvert, which is why I am so comfortable in quarantine. Because of YouTube, I've been able to go to a bunch of events and meet a lot of cool people and do stuff like this interview with Sid. It's definitely like forced me to come out of my shell. And even doing music videos, like every time I do a music video, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta abort mission because it's a lot of new people to meet. I have to have a lot of energy to be in front of the camera and also meet all these new people. I mean, it's such a fun experience, but it is something that's really outside of my comfort zone. And so doing YouTube and doing music is really just like pushing me to do stuff that I've always wanted to do, but have always been like too scared to do. So I'm really thankful that I'm in this position that forces me to do things that I've wanted to do, but I feel like I'm holding myself back from.
So I guess you have two different creative outlets now with music and creating like the DIYs and stuff. We'll jump into the music stuff. What's sort of like your musical background? Because I think I heard that you've been playing piano basically for all your life.
Yeah. I feel like it's a classic Asian rite of passage to learn either piano or violin, and I played both. I started piano when I was 6, I think, so I've been playing for 16 years. And I was a piano teacher for a couple years until I realized that I actually suck at teaching. So then that ended very quickly. And singing was like something that I've always liked doing, but I was like too shy to do. I guess I started writing songs like early teens, but they're just like sitting on my iPod Touch and no one will ever hear them. They're probably really bad. Yeah, actually, my first channel before Generation DIY was a singing channel, but it is long gone from the internet because it's so embarrassing. I only had one video on it, and even I can't access it because I don't remember the password to that channel, so I will never be able to see it, which is kind of sad, but also maybe good for my eardrums.
I want to talk about Falling to Your Knees, your
Yes.
latest single. It is such a good song.
Thank you.
Been dancing to it. I guess in your behind the scenes video, you mentioned that was kind of like a spontaneous writing process. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I wrote it, I think in like March, April, like around that time. So it was kind of like the peak of the pandemic and like when a lot of like racism was going around to Asians. And so I was like taking a little bit of the hit from that, from like comments. Like I shouldn't have done this, but I started like responding to some of them. And there was one guy in particular that was just like really explicit in what he was saying. And so I was just like, you know, and then it was just like got into it and I was like, okay, eventually I gotta just like stop responding. And so I channeled my frustration into the lyrics of the song. I like wrote a quick demo on like GarageBand, and it was really fast. It was like a day or two, and then it just like all came together because I was like, I gotta like get this out right now. But I'm very thankful for that guy because he made Falling to Your Knees happen.
I want to talk about the concept of the music video. How did you come up with that robot, futuristic sci-fi storyline?
Yeah, so I was inspired by the movie Ex Machina, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I wrote an essay about it in university, and I feel like I've just been changed ever since. So the idea is like I wanted to be this robot who is controlled by this man who is like my creator, and in the beginning I'm just like following all of his demands and basically I just wanted to portray the idea of like how girls and people of color are kind of controlled by societal pressures of like how to be, because I feel like growing up I just never felt really comfortable in my own skin, like being Asian, and like just you just feel like you're not supposed to be the way you are. And so in the video I want to show that like I am not who I am, but I just like don't know that like this is all I know. Eventually I guess like he discovers that I am not like following his demands exactly to a T, and I'm like malfunctioning in his eyes because I'm like becoming myself or like making these mistakes. And then he like builds himself this new robot who will follow him, and then that in that moment I discover that I'm a robot and I've never truly had any control over my own thoughts or actions, and then I like poison him and revolt and like take my freedom. So fun casual things.
That's exciting. I want to go back to, I guess, like the female empowerment and the Asian representation with you and your music and also your YouTube videos. What advice would you have for these young girls that don't feel like they're represented in the industry or may not ever get to this certain point in their life with their goals and dreams?
Yeah, I think it's hard to give advice to someone like that, but I think the world is changing slowly, and you shouldn't be afraid to, I guess, give yourself opportunities instead of waiting for someone to hand them to you, because like in this world, like it takes courage to like break out of the cycle and help change the world to be a better place.
For yourself, how do you feel like you kind of broke that shell?
I feel like I honestly just stumbled into it. Like I didn't come into doing YouTube being like, I want to be this like representation of like Asian girls and like I want to do all these things. Like I honestly just wanted to make the things I make and do things that like other regular teenagers were doing. And I think that's really important to show that like I think especially in movies and TV shows in the past, it's really been like if you're an Asian character, you're like a side character, you're like the nerdy math person, or like you're like all those stereotypes. And I think it's important to show that like we're like just normal people. Like, yeah, I just want to show that like you can do whatever you want, even though you don't see it in media.
Are you down to do some rapid questions?
Oh, sure.
Okay, you ready?
I'm nervous.
Okay, first question. Fave Netflix binge.
Selling Sunset.
Song you always dance to.
New Rules by Dua Lipa.
Fave clothing accessory.
Scrunchies.
The last song you played.
Oh, let me pull it. Oh, the whole Positions album.
Superpower of choice.
Telekinesis.
Celebrity crush.
Tom Holland or Zendaya. Both.
Food. Go-to snack.
All dressed chips, which is only a Canadian thing, and I feel so bad for Americans because they've never tried it before.
I did not know that. Dream travel destination
Uh, Greece.
and go to Starbucks order.
Pink drink. Funny story about that. I always feel like really I feel so like self-conscious of it because it's such a like bright colored drink. I'm like, don't look at me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, for your fans watching, what do you want them to know about your music, your YouTube channel, everything? Spill your guts
Um,
and heart.
yeah. I hope that everyone loves falling to your knees and like find some sort of empowerment in it to apply to their own lives. And I hope that just like people feel good after watching my videos or listening to my music, because I just want people to like feel like they can be themselves and do whatever they want in this world. And you can be your own blueprint for whatever you want to do. You can find me on social media at JenerationDIY and JenZ on all streaming platforms. And that's with the J for both because I like puns.